Craig Larson, and I own Hannah Chiropractic, East Central Chiropractic now we call it. Yeah, we switched our names up because we're not just Hannah Chiropractic anymore, we're East Central special areas as well. Yeah.
All right, and I'm Carissa Kimpinski, and I'm an independent contractor for East Central as well. So
we're a full service general practice of chiropractic. We work with other members of our community, healthcare professionals, referring back and forth, and we treat a wide range of people from infants to geriatrics and everything in between, a lot of farm accidents and sports injuries, things like that. I've been here 25 years now. Mayor Warwick just sent me a 25-year congratulatory letter, so 25 years in Hannah. Originally I'm from Sylvan Lake, and yeah, so that's home stomping ground for me.
And I actually grew up in a small town in BC, then was in Medicine Hat for a while, and then Drumheller, and now I've officially been living in Hannah since October.
What brought me was the rural lifestyle, and definitely the small town that's, and Alberta, of course. You know, we wanted to be in Alberta, so that's what brought me here. What brought you?
Well, I think Dr. Larson here is an amazing chiropractor, and I wanted in the beginning of my career to learn from someone who knew what they were doing and treated their patients well, so really good mentorship here. And I just really love small towns. I loved growing up in one, and I hated living in the city, so this is a good fit.
Rural entrepreneur has its challenges. It's because you're working with a more limited population, you have to kind of get to know your clientele a bit, and you have to realize and understand what they need. And once you know that, then you can integrate things into your business. So I would say it's got its challenges, but it's got its rewards too, because you really get to know your clientele or your business, you know, your business and how it runs. So that's how it. There's probably more to it than that, but that's the summary. Well, I always wanted to be a professional of some variety, and I hadn't really totally made up my mind when I first started. As I went along further, I decided I wanted to be in a profession of some variety that can help people. We basically treat generally healthy people, and you know, and we can put a kick back into their step fairly quickly, and so that was a real benefit. And I had the beneficial experience of actually having that happen after an injury, and I was pretty amazed at what the chiropractor could do for me. So that's what brought me into it. So.
Yeah, and I love the idea of being able to just use very simple tools, your hands, a lot of other just very simple things to help people to move better and feel better and essentially be able to live their lives better. And chiropractic is one of the best ways that I've seen to make that happen. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, so we do, you know, you have to do a bachelor degree first, and then you do a professional degree. So it's 8 years to 9 years right now, depending on which school you go to. So that's the chiropractic portion of it. The actual running a business portion, we were certainly giving courses in the last little bit to teach us as much as they can in one course to help us with that. But there's a lot of self-learning in terms of the business itself. You know, there's a lot of self-learning, and Hannah Learning Center has a lot of good stuff that they promote, and certainly some courses there that can be helpful too. So yeah, self-learning for the business portion. Chiropractic, of course, that's all very set up.
And I found just like there was only one business course in school when I went through it, and you learned a little bit and didn't even really pass the mountain of knowledge that there has to be. So I've personally found I've learned the most just talking to other people who've done it longer and who kind of made the mistakes before me and can tell me, oh, don't do that or do that, and just lots of mentors and older, wiser people. So
you know, every business has its own challenges, and you know, everything from keeping the electricity on to keeping the staff going, and you know, keeping everything up in the air and running smoothly. So there's a whole bunch of little issues that always happen that you always have to put the fire out. But the biggest issue that happens, I guess, is just getting set up. You know, getting set up in an area, and that's what I like about Hannah too, is that, you know, the economics of actually setting up an office is actually less because it's not downtown Calgary, and it's much easier financially to get set up and get going. So.
Well, I definitely have to say, when I have some patients come in who've been dealing with low back pain or headaches for years and years and years, and have just kind of pushed through it and lived with it, and that's their normal, and they come in and they get adjusted a few times, or sometimes even in the first treatment, and it makes a huge difference for them, and sometimes pain-free right away, and sometimes it takes a bit, but they just are able to live more freely, and that's a really great feeling to know that you could help set up the environment for that healing to take place and for people to live their lives. That's what we want, yeah.
Response rate is fast usually. We can usually get things going pretty quickly for people. So, so that's, I would agree. Just multiple small bonuses every day in the clinic. Well, I don't like cold weather and I don't like working out there, so so I want it to be. I do like being inside during our cold winters, of course. But other than that, like I said earlier, I want it to be in a profession that I feel self-rewarded with. You know, not only I don't like sitting at desks too much, so it's a fairly active job that way. So if that's the reason, I guess that's the main reason.
It hasn't really for me yet, but we'll see a couple of years down the road, and yeah.
Yeah, family is how it affects your family. That's a very difficult question to answer in the sense that you know, I think it's built into my kids the want to better themselves and to see that you know, you can actually go out there and do it, and so I think that's, if I could say one thing, it's really helped my kids.
Relax.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy it. It's you know, you've got all the knowledge, and it's, you know, you try to do everything perfect for everybody all the time, and normally that all happens correctly. And so just relax and do your very best. Just relax and take it easy. Enjoy life a little. Pay your taxes. Involve yourself completely. You know, if it's just, if you wind up showing up as a job, it doesn't, you don't really, you can't make it blossom into what it really would be. So you know, throw yourself into it full, and bury yourself in it and make it into everything you want it to be. And you know, that involves a lot of time and some money too. But if you bury yourself in it, it's gonna blossom.
I think confidence in who you are as a person, what you have to sell, that's really important, or the product that you're offering, which in this case is treatments, healthcare advice, that kind of thing. You have to be a likable person and have a little bit of charisma and just be able to get along well with people. If you find that you don't like people, it's a really tough career to get into business owning, because you have to be around people all the time, and if you don't enjoy that, you're going to be pretty miserable.
So know yourself.
And so know yourself.
Know yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
And just be really honest, like in self-reflection about your strengths and your weaknesses, and be able to decide, nope, this isn't for me, and that's okay, or yeah, this is where I want to go, and I'm willing to take the risks that I need to make a successful business.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah,
you know, go for it. Just go for it. If it's something that drives you and it's passionate and it grabs you, and it's something you really want to do, if you really have a passion for it, the advice is go for it. Just, you know, bury yourself in it and go for it. That's what I'd say.
And just realize it takes time for things to build as well. You're not going to see the success right away that people who've been doing it for 25 years have at that time. You got to see the slow build, and that's the better way actually for things to happen. So yeah,
you grow it. You don't try to you know, it doesn't occur by itself. It has to be nurtured and blossoms and watered and fluffed. So getting people to understand what we treat. You know, a lot of people come in, headaches and back pain bring people in, but they don't realize that we treat infants, and they don't realize that arthritis is something that's very workable, and they don't realize a number of these conditions can be helped with you know, comfort measures. You know, we can't always go for cure when we have a long-term chronic problem. is that we can provide a lot of comfort for people that even though we can't get rid of cure the problem, we can make things a lot more comfortable and put a little zap back in their step too. So that would be the main one.
I don't know who said it, but just breathe. That I used a lot in school.
I think my favorite one is just, and I think it was Edison. It might have been Edison or think. You know, that guy that's standing there, or the old fellow that's in the picture, and it just says on the bottom, think. And you can usually find people in life that if they haven't touched the situation you're in, they know somebody that have. And think it through and just consider your options. So think.